is Michael Popok, Legal AF. You know, one thing the Department of Justice under Joe Biden does? Clean up behind the elephant. That was the way Donald Trump handled the pardon and clemency process when he was in office. Donald Trump, never did it properly, didn't listen to vetting by the Department of Justice about who was eligible or suitable to have their sentences shortened or their crimes pardoned by the president. He just had a list prepared primarily by Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, who handed him a list. And, you know, if he knew the guy or played golf with the guy or a person, he just said, yeah, let's cut his sentence in half, or let's, you know, this is one of the reasons that Donald Trump is unsuitable to ever hold the highest office in the land. It's just the way he handled these things in such a childish fashion, without any regard to jurisprudence, justice, his own Department of Justice at all, and just relied on people like Jared Kushner, you know, or Kim Kardashian lobbying him for any one particular person. And it's all come ahead. It's all come to a head. As I said, the Department of Justice is cleaning up behind the elephant. And one thing in particular they're doing is checking all the people who had their sentences shortened and to see if there was any way to retry them and get another conviction that won't be pardoned or commuted by the next president or the current president. Now, you can't do that for people who had their crimes completely pardoned, because it is what it sounds like. You can't be tried again for those particular specific crimes for which you were previously tried, because you have been pardoned by the then president. And that pardon power can't be challenged in the Supreme Court or by any other future president. You can't rescind somebody's pardon. It's the ultimate power given to the President of the United States by our Constitution. Commutation or clemency, this type of clemency, commuting somebody's sentence, is different. In commuting somebody's sentence, you're shortening the time that somebody has served. And similarly, for the same crime on the same facts, where a jury has reached a verdict, that's the operative term, against you, your sentence has been reduced and the new president can't pump it up. The Trump administration or Trump cut your sentence down to 5 years from 20. I'm going to put it back up to 20. Can't do that either. It's all part of the clemency or pardon power of the presidency, except in a unique situation where you've gone to trial, you've been convicted of some counts, but not all counts, and the jury never reached a decision on other counts of your indictment. That brings us to the sordid tale of Phil Esfornes. Phil Esfornes was at one time a playboy, multimillionaire healthcare executive whose father started a chain of nursing homes that he inherited when he was a small boy. And then when he got the company, much like Donald Trump getting his company from his father, he completely destroyed the business model and the business and committed healthcare fraud over and over again. Such a large healthcare fraud and scam, which resulted in tens of millions of dollars going to him that shouldn't have in the fraudulent scheme, that the judge in the Southern District of Florida in Miami presiding over the case, who I know well because he used to be on the state court in Miami and actually played on a softball team with me in a charity tournament, that judge looked at all of the facts, having heard all the evidence in a trial, and during his sentencing of Phil Esfornes said, this is one of the worst scandals and fraud I've ever seen, and sentenced him to 20 years, 20 years in jail in federal penitentiary related to it. The guy was so bad and it was such a potential flight risk that he served 3 years in detention before trial, because they thought he was going to fly off to Israel or to other places where he had power and access and money. So he served 3 years in jail, and then he went to jail on a 20-year sentence until Donald Trump took office. And on the waning days, the last gasp and the fumes of the Trump administration, because Jared Kushner and others told him to, and others lobbied for Esfornes, including a former attorney generals on the Republican side, and others brought to Trump by an organization called the Aleph, or Aleph, A-L-E-P-H, it's the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, organization lobbied Donald Trump to commute Phil Esfornes' sentences, claiming that he was that he's a new man, that he's studying to be a rabbi, that he's become very religious, that he's got a health condition, and his father was a rabbi, and all of that. What they didn't reveal at the time is that his father, a huge healthcare executive, had donated millions of dollars to the Aleph organization, the very organization that was supposedly advocating for Phil Esfornes to have a sentence commuted. Now, Donald Trump didn't pardon, this is the key, did not pardon Esfornes for all the crimes that he committed, for which he was sentenced 20 years to jail. He just shortened his sentence from 20 down to 5 years. And since he'd already served about 5 years at that point, he was let out of jail immediately. The next set of pictures you saw of Phil Esfornes, supposedly ill, dying of some disease, and now studying Talmudically for his religion, was his looking tan, ready, and rested in a tuxedo at his daughter's wedding. So that Phil Esfornes. Your pet's a member of the family. My Lily certainly is. Don't feed them like they're in the doghouse. Give them Nom Nom. Nom Nom delivers fresh dog food with every portion personalized to your dog's needs, so you can bring out their best. Nom Nom's made with real whole food you can see and recognize, without any additives or fillers that contribute to bloating and low energy. That's because Nom Nom uses the latest science and insights to make real good food for your dogs. Their nutrient-packed recipes are crafted by board-certified veterinary nutritionists, made fresh and shipped free to your door. Nom Nom's already delivered over 40 million meals to good dogs like yours, inspiring millions of clean bowls and tail wags. I love my dog so much and feel better giving her better nutrition. And my dog loves the food and other benefits they've seen. Plus, Nom Nom comes with a money-back guarantee. If your dog's tail isn't wagging within 30 days, Nom Nom will refund your first order. No fillers, no nonsense, just Nom Nom. Go right now for 50% off your no-risk 2-week trial at trynom.com/legalaf. Spelled try, NOM.com/legalaf for 50% off. Trynom.com/legalaf. But unfortunately for him, unfortunately for us in justice, the jury in Miami deadlocked on 6 counts of the healthcare fraud. They didn't reach a verdict, meaning the Department of Justice, now led by Merrick Garland under Joe Biden, can go back after Esfornes and clean up behind the elephant and try his case again for those 6 and try to put him in jail again. That's the danger when you get a commuted sentence for your clemency and not a pardon. That's what happened to Esfornes. Now, everybody's all upset on the Republican side. I guess they like healthcare fraud. I guess they like Medicare healthcare fraud, where he is paying and bribing doctors to send people to his assisted living facility and nursing homes and to get treatment they don't need. I guess that's okay with Nikki Haley, because she's very upset about the fact that the Justice Department is going after Phil Esfornes again. Look, you want to make an argument about the weaponization of the Department of Justice because it's a great talking point while you're running unsuccessfully for the presidency, have at it. But to use Phil Esfornes as your poster boy, the guy that ripped off to hundreds of millions of dollars of Medicare and Medicaid fraud, meaning our taxpayer dollars and money that could have went to you and me and our grandparents and mothers and aging people in our life. Wrong guy. Wrong guy. The guy that misled even the Aleph organization and Donald Trump by extension by arguing that he was dying of some disease in jail when he wasn't. Lied again. Just to show you how bad this guy was, he actually also, as part of the other crimes that he committed or other bad acts that were part of his sentencing memoranda that went to the judge, he spent $300,000 because he likes to bribe people. So he spent $300,000 trying to bribe the basketball coach at the University of Pennsylvania, an Ivy League school, to give his son a scholarship, right? So it's not just the $40 million he earned in ill-gotten gains from running a fraud against the American people and taxpayer, but it's also the he's bribing left and right, including trying to get his probably not that talented or not that tall son to play for the University of Pennsylvania Ivy League school on its basketball team. So he got sentenced He got sentenced in Southern District of Florida, and in addition to being sentenced, he had to pay a $5.5 million restitution, and he had to spend $40 million, 40, in asset forfeiture. So he gave up $40 million plus $45 million. Went out the door, went back, and Judge Scola, guy who plays a very good shortstop, by the way, back in the day, on his softball team, said it was the most egregious healthcare fraud he's ever seen. And now you've got to talk about both sides-ism. You got MAGA right-wing Republicans who are jumping up and down because the Department of Justice is trying to put somebody back in jail who deserves to be back in jail because, he got his sentence commuted. Right. But if Donald Trump was thinking, or anybody was focused on anything, he would have pardoned him for all of his sins and not just cut his sentence by 2/3. And now the Department of Justice is looking back over the files of all the people that Donald Trump pardoned or gave clemency to see if any of them deserve to be retried. It's not double jeopardy to be tried a second time for counts that the jury did not reach a verdict on. So jeopardy did not attach. Jeopardy attaches generally, as that concept is known, when there's a verdict. Thumb up or thumb down. When there's no thumb, jury doesn't reach a verdict. Jeopardy doesn't attach. And if the Department of Justice right after that wanted to retry him for the other counts, they could have. They just decided not to because they got a 20-year sentence out of Judge Scola for Phil Esfornes. But now the new Department of Justice can do the right thing, and that's what we're watching. We're going to watch the Department of Justice, not because it's weaponized, but because it's interested in justice. It's in its title. One place, the MeidasTouch Network. That's where I do my legal analysis at the corner of law, politics, and justice. Here in hot takes like this one, about every day, if not every hour, and then on a podcast called, wait for it, Legal AF. You may have known that already. And that's the leading podcast for law and politics. It's only one place. It's on the MeidasTouch Network. Yes, the title is what you think. It's Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I do it with Karen Friedman-Agnifilo on Wednesdays, with Ben Meiselas on Saturdays, and then you can get it on audio podcast wherever you get your audio podcast from. We do it a full-length 1-hour audio, just like a hot take, except I've got a co-anchor that I get to bounce ideas around with and use our legal knowledge as a 32-year practicing trial lawyer in matters just like this one, in courts just like this, and in judges, some of which I may even know that I can tell you about, including ones that have a pretty good stick and are very good at playing shortstop. Until my next Legal AF, until my next hot take, this is Michael Popok, Legal AF.
Hey, Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.